Hey everybody, it's Allie and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, September 3rd, 2017. Jack Abbott is on a mission to destroy Brash and Sassy, to destroy Billy, and probably in the process destroy his relationship too. I was watching the very beginning of Friday's show and I thought to myself, Nikki has got to be tired of being stuck in this constant loop of being with men who say they want one thing, but they clearly want another, who want to present themselves in a very benign way, but who are always constantly working behind her back on some alternative agenda. Early in the week, Jack tried to suggest to Lauren that Jabot's products and this new Parker Beauty line that they have acquired should take the place of Brash and Sassy products on Fenmore's shelves. So Jack is trying to leverage the business relationship and his ownership in Fenmore stores in order to force Lauren to get rid of Brash and Sassy completely. Even Phyllis is sitting in the room watching Jack try to pitch this idea, and she knows that it's shady. She knows that it's at least a little wrong, but Phyllis is in a position where she thinks that what Jack is suggesting will potentially help her relationship with Billy, so she's kind of going along with it. I'm sure that Lauren could sense that even Phyllis wasn't completely sold, so Lauren puts the kibosh on it immediately. She says, this is a little bit dirty, I'm not gonna do it, my customers still want these products, so nice try, Jack, but I'm not gonna fall for it. By the way, I really like the dynamic that's happening between Jack and Phyllis right now. There's just something about all of the scenes that they have together that are really dynamic and appealing. I feel like it's because Jack and Phyllis have this love-hate relationship that it works, and somehow it creates a little bit of screen magic. I think it's because Jack and Phyllis are forced into each other's orbit. I mean, they should have had a very bitter divorce, but because they work together, they are having to interact, and also they happen to have some mutual interests going on. They both want to get Billy, just in different ways. Billy is tired of being pulled in all of these different directions. So as far as he's concerned, as far as Jack is concerned, the war is on. It is Jack versus Billy. Billy is willing to do things that he shouldn't do in order to advance Brash and Sassy and, and try to do an end run around Jack. After Billy stole Dina's password, I was really surprised that he clued Victoria in about that, and I was extra surprised that Victoria was okay with it. She said, you know what, I'm okay doing what we have to do, whatever's necessary to save my company, and if that means hacking into Jabot's system, then so be it. I think that from Billy's perspective, he is seeing this as, hey, it's just business, it's not personal, even if he has to use his personal relationship with Phyllis to do it. He wasn't able to just log into Jabot's system with Dina's password because you have to have a Jabot approved computer system in order to do that. So, Billy lures Phyllis into a sex shower. Which, how could she resist a sex shower? And then while she's upstairs probably recuperating, Billy swipes her laptop and he gets in with Dina's login credentials and downloads a bunch of files from the Jabot server where he acquires information about the fact that Jabot is taking on this new Parker Beauty line and that they are actively trying to squeeze out shelf space from Brash and Sassy on at Fenmore's. I'm disappointed in Billy. I can't hide the fact that I'm very disappointed in Billy for doing that. I feel like Billy, in that moment, sitting there on Phyllis's laptop, knowing that he has intentionally tricked her to be out of the room. I feel like Billy is crossing a line that maybe he wasn't prepared to cross. I don't know if he really, in the forefront of his mind, was thinking about what he was doing. I just think it seemed so dirty and so underhanded and so... I hate to I don't like that he's taking advantage of his relationship with Phyllis to do it. There's something in the back of my mind that always had a feeling that Phyllis was going to end up hurt in this relationship, that she was all in on Billy, but that somehow Billy was going to do something, or that somehow the relationship wasn't going to work out in Phyllis's best interest. I just didn't think that it was going to be like this. Something about that, the fact that Billy would use Phyllis to help Victoria and her company, just felt like it was too far. I don't know if you guys felt like that too, but anything that Phyllis has done seems a little bit too pale in comparison to that. I mean, Phyllis is definitely keeping secrets from Billy. For one, she knows about Jack's whole plan to destroy Brash and Sassy. But in my mind, I think, well, that is kind of, that's just business. They are competing companies, and I can understand where Jack would want to try to do whatever he could to go after Victoria's business. That seems reasonable. But there is the fact that Phyllis couldn't resist nudging Benjamin Hockman in Victoria's direction, whether that turned out well for her personally or not. Ravi ended up letting it slip to Victoria this week too, that Ben was in the Jabot building, had meetings with both Jack and Phyllis, and Victoria put together the pieces on that immediately. She immediately realizes that both Jack and Phyllis are in it together, that they are coming at her now from all angles, that it's both business and, because of Phyllis and her relationship with Billy, it's become personal. I think that Victoria has just hit her breaking point on any number of levels. She feels that there's an all-on assault on her life, and she's tired of playing nice and getting no reward. I really think that Phyllis's paranoia about Billy and Victoria's relationship was somewhat unfounded, because I didn't get the impression throughout the course of the past several months of Billy and Victoria working together, I really did not get the impression that Victoria was trying to get Billy. I think she was really legitimately trying to play it straight, just trying to save her business. I don't think that, I mean, she even said to Nikki a little later in the week, I think it was on Friday's show, I was just planning to let Billy and Phyllis's relationship fizzle out on its own. I wasn't, I miss him. I do miss him, but I wasn't going to do anything underhanded or make any plays at all to try to get him back. But now that she knows Phyllis is coming for her, Victoria is ready to launch right back. At the very end of Friday's show, Victoria steps into the elevator with Phyllis, jams on the elevator stop button, gets up in Phyllis's face and says, "I'm on to you, bitch." It was such almost like a different version of Victoria, and it was so pointed. I mean, Victoria is not usually like that, so it was a little bit thrilling and exciting, and I did light up most definitely when I saw that. I thought it was great. I think that the games are about to begin. It is about to get interesting, and I am so excited to hear where you guys fall on where the lines have been drawn. Do you think that, like, let's make that our weekly poll, okay? Victoria versus Phyllis, who do you think will come out on top? I mean, these two women are gonna be coming at each other probably with everything that they've got. They're both fierce in entirely different ways. Who do you think will be the winner? YRChat.com if you'd like to cast your vote and let me know, Victoria versus Phyllis, who will be the one to come out on top? I'd love to get your votes and your comments on that this week. I mean, normally, I would say Phyllis is the queen of underhanded tricks. I mean, you could not possibly out Phyllis, but we have to keep in mind that Victoria has this head injury that so far has really impacted nothing except for her sexual prowess. I mean, it hasn't caused her to make any questionable business decisions whatsoever. All it has really done is made her be a little more feisty, a little more willing to maybe go through with sex that she wouldn't normally go through with. I'm telling you, how much do you want to bet right now that it won't be long before Victoria and Billy are at the Brash and Sassy office having some kind of late night session, and then all of a sudden Victoria has a dizzy spell there at work and just loses it and decides to try to like climb up Billy like he's a mountain. In this whole war of Victoria versus Phyllis and Brash and Sassy versus Jabot, I'm trying to figure out what Jack's plan for Hilary is going to be, because we had a preview at the end of Friday's show where Jack is going to Hilary and he's suggesting to her that she may be able to help him in some way. This, of course, is right after Nikki gets up in his face and reminds him that if he's planning to do something underhanded to her daughter's company, their relationship would be over instantly. I like that she did that too. That was a really good, strong Nikki moment. So I'm imagining that turned on some kind of little light bulb in Jack's mind where he is just now deciding, oh yeah, I guess Nikki is going to be mad at me if I try to destroy her daughter. I don't know what he would have expected her to think or say, but I'm assuming that now he's deciding that he just needs to be a little more sneaky about his plan. He's not going to change the plan to suit Nikki. He just needs to be more sneaky. So I'm not sure how Hilary fits into his plan. Maybe she's going to give some bad press to Brash and Sassy. I mean, she's already on Victoria's bad side. Even Victoria was commenting, I think on Friday's show that that Hilary is, you know, she's kind of, you know, bad girl, you know, because she's the enemy of the family. So I don't know. I'm not sure. I do want to touch on the fact that I tell you, I love seeing Hilary and Devon reconnect. I like when these two sit down together and they just talk, and it feels like a real moment. It feels like as real as Hilary ever is. I think she feels completely comfortable with Devon, and I think on some level Devon just feels completely comfortable with her. But I don't like that he ended up getting waylaid on his date with Mariah because he was sitting there talking to Hilary. He, in effect, stood Mariah up. They were supposed to meet at the Underground, and Devon just no-showed. And of course, later on Friday's show, Hilary has to take the opportunity to let Mariah know that the reason Devon didn't show up was because he was busy talking to her. Mariah didn't know that, and of course Hilary has to stand there and pretend, oh, sorry about that, I'm so sorry, did I delay your date with Devon? And you could tell instantly that it got up under Mariah's skin. I don't know why Mariah lets Hilary rattle her still. Shouldn't Mariah be used to this by now? This is kind of Hilary's game when it comes to Mariah. She likes to try to make Mariah feel insecure in that relationship, and it's pretty clear, especially in that moment, that it was working. Mariah turned right around and ended up confronting Devon about the fact that he stood her up and confronting him about the fact that he never has said the L word in return. She told him she loves him. She had this big, moment where, it was a moment for her, I love you, and she was ready to totally commit to Devon, and he just never said it back. But the point, they had this argument, and he says, you know what, do you want me to say it? I'll say it right now. But Mariah does not want Devon to say I love you if he doesn't mean it. And the bottom line is, neither does he. He doesn't want to say that to you because he doesn't mean it. I mean, so I feel terrible for her, because at the end of the day, is he still in love with Hilary? He says no. I believe yes, but that's not even entirely the issue. Devon can love or not love Hilary and still love or not love Mariah. I think it's the Devon and Mariah relationship is a lot like Hilary's relationship with Jordan. It's just time to accept the feelings aren't mutual. One thing that is mutual, Hilary and Cane have the same goal: to keep Lily and Jordan from growing any closer than they already are. Surprise scenes of the week. I really loved seeing Hilary and Cane kind of cohorting. I mean, it wasn't some kind of scheme to get Lily and Jordan to stop being together. It was just more of a, hey, you and me kind of have the same goal here. Let's keep in touch, let's touch base. There was just something about Hilary and Cane together that I just thought, this is kind of great. These two should have more scenes together. I like that there is much, I suppose much like Jack and Phyllis, there's this thread of disgust underneath the relationship, but we're sort of somehow forced into each other's orbit by having these mutual goals. I think that for Hilary, the reason that the reason that she's so, I don't know, obsessed with Jordan right now is partially, and only partially, because she doesn't want Lily to have him. I think that Hilary also just doesn't like being rejected again, and I think that she's been through that too recently. I think she felt rejected when it came to her relationship with Devon, and I think it's hard to be vulnerable with someone. It takes courage to be vulnerable with someone and to be your ugly self with someone, and Devon saw that and ultimately rejected her, and I just am imagining that it would be hard for her to go through that again with Jordan, like wanting kind of to open yourself up to someone and being afraid that they're going to reject you, and then having your worst fear about that realized. So I think that Hilary is wanting to go at Jordan for a multitude of reasons. For Cane, it is about love, and it is about family. I think that seeing Jordan last week sitting in his spot at the dinner table hurt him. He didn't go and bust up their dinner and say, hey, I'm the man of this household. No, he just closed the door and walked out, and probably soaked in the fact that he's done this to himself, and that there's a real possibility that Lily and his family are going to move on without him. That's his worst fear realized. And on some level, I think that is his punishment for what he, for all the lies that he told. There was another great scene that I really enjoyed. Cane, at Lily's encouragement, takes Charlie back to those lowly digs we call the Chancellor Mansion. Ugh, he's been kicked out of the house and he has to stay at the Chancellor Mansion. Boo-hoo. But he takes Charlie back to the mansion and has pizza with him, and just like sits and talks to his son. His son has been harder on him than I think, possibly even anybody else in the family. And so, I think seeing the look in his son's everyone's eyes of disdain has been difficult for him. So he did just sit down with Charlie, have a pizza. In that moment, Charlie gets a text, realizes that he didn't make the football team. This was something that he really wanted, and Cane luckily was there to be able to comfort him and offer that support. And in return, Charlie opens up about that dinner that they had with Jordan. And I liked the moment where Charlie sensed that Cane was that he might be upset about that. You know, I mean, I don't think Cane was prying. I really watched that thinking that maybe Cane was going to try to pry Charlie for information on what the real deal behind that dinner was, and I really don't think he was doing that. I think he kind of asked about it or let on that he knew, but he wasn't being manipulative. Charlie just knew that that was something that would be on his dad's mind, and he wanted to reassure him that it's not like Jordan was in your spot because he's going to replace you. And I think that Cane needed to know that. I think right now Cane needs and wants to know that he is missed and that he still has a place in his family, that he is still needed. Meanwhile, Maddie is questioning what's going on with Lily and Jordan, what the real story is there, because this is kind of lame, but Jordan stops by the next day with flowers. I think that's a little presumptuous, Jordan. The woman is married. Her husband is, yes, kicked out. You already got your kiss. You got that kiss on in. Good for you. You don't need to follow it up with a married woman with flowers. I think Jordan's getting a little ahead of himself. He's going to end up getting hurt in all of this. I mean, if I was Lily and my loyalties were still, if I was leaning towards still reconciling with Cane, I would have set him straight. I would have said, thank you, that's so nice, but I do want you to know that my husband is my husband. I mean, I don't know why it feels like she's letting him in more and more. And the more she lets him in, the less space I think there is going to be for her to forgive Cane. And I think Maddie, being the sensitive young woman that she is, she really picks up on that, and she sees that. I think she realizes that it's a little disturbing to feel like her mom is moving on already, but also there's a double standard here. I mean, Lily is saying that Jordan is her friend, that they're just friends, and that he's really helping her through this difficult time. But meanwhile, Lily and everybody else has encouraged Maddie to not have her friend who was helping her through a difficult time read. So, I mean, I felt bad for Maddie in that moment, and I don't know, she made a phone call. I think she went to go stay the night at a friend's house. Hopefully she's going to end up meeting up with Reed. I think Maddie can see the double standard, and I hope that that makes her proceed with her relationship with Reed. For Lily, though, it seems to me that she's attracted to Jordan because everything with Jordan is uncomplicated. With Jordan, it can just be easy. They can just go out for a burger and fries and have a drink and not have to think about lies and manipulation and family and money problems. It's just easier being with him. But I have a feeling that it's about to get complicated with Jordan because Hilary did not like that, much like Devon blew off Mariah to have that little meeting with Hilary, Jordan blew off Hilary to go have dinner with Lily, and Hilary knew it. It was pretty obvious. They were like, Jordan and Hilary were trying to be friends again, be friendly, and Hilary said, yeah, you want to have dinner? And he's like, sure. Then he runs off in the corner, takes a phone call from Lily. She wants to have dinner, and all of a sudden it's bye-bye Hilary. So Hilary's not having that. She even goes to Chelsea, his friend, trying to sniff around for dirt on him, for what the real secrets are in Jordan's past. I was so glad that Chelsea saw right through it. I was afraid that Chelsea was going to give something up, but no, she was smart enough. I have a feeling that's not going to stop Hilary, though. I think that Hilary is just gonna find some way to blow up Jordan's spot, ruin his chances with Lily, ruin his career, and I don't know, maybe that will help Jack out if that generates some bad press for Brash and Sassy, because if it's discovered that Brash and Sassy's principal photographer has a history of taking dirty photos, that's not gonna look real good on Brash and Sassy. I think that Y&R is really getting right Faith 2.0, right? It seems like she went away, this overly precocious little girl, and she's actually coming back a lot more mature. So I'm really liking this new version of Faith, and I really like to actually see Nick parenting her. I like that he sits down with her and he lets her know that she's entitled to her feelings, but that's not going to change the course of his actions. They're not going to bend over backwards just to make Faith happy the way it seemed like they used to. And also I like that he is trying to teach her to be respectful to Chelsea. Chelsea's bending over backwards to try to help Faith feel comfortable at the new apartment, and I think I like to see that Faith is trying, but then when she tries to throw her little temper tantrum, Nick comes in and corrects her as he should. I don't know if that's going to end up causing, I don't know if that's going to be what causes problems for Nick and Chelsea, and it almost seems certain that we're on the horizon of some problems for Nick and Chelsea. Last week's poll question was, do you guys think this is the beginning, this new move-in, is this the beginning for Nick and Chelsea, or is it just the beginning of the end? Overwhelmingly 91% of you felt that we are seeing the beginning of the end of Nick and Chelsea's relationship. I do agree. I just am not sure if Faith is going to be what's the catalyst. It's more than likely going to be Victor. It doesn't help that Victor is subtly taking advantage of the situation with Faith. I have to give it up to Nikki, by the way, who came in to the situation and saw that Victor was holding Faith's bedroom furniture hostage and encouraged him to heal these wounds, give the furniture back, for crying out loud, you're a grown man. And he does. Victor has one of his men deliver Faith's furniture to Chelsea's new condo, and like Faith was having a little bit of an attitude problem at that moment, and as soon as the furniture comes in, oh, she just turns it right around real quick. She's like, oh, I love you, Chelsea. I get some new stuff. Well, that'll ply her for maybe a week tops. I mean, you know, it was just funny how quickly it turned around. But the problem is that Victor gets all the credit for that. Faith doesn't hear that Chelsea designed this amazing new bedroom for her. She hears that Victor had the furniture delivered. So once again, Victor comes out looking like the bad guy. I mean, Nick can't tell her the real dynamics behind the situation, that the furniture was taken by Victor and then returned. No, it just looks like Victor is the good guy and Nick is just this overbearing bad guy who's trying to keep her away from her sweet grandfather, you know? I mean, I'm sure that it's a difficult situation for Nick, and I can't imagine that it's not going to cause problems in their relationship. It has caused a little bit of problem between Nick and Nikki. She came in and it has actually, after she confronted Victor, she also confronted Nick and said, you're better than this, son. I mean, you're sitting here accusing Victor of using his family to do things in the name of the family, and that's what you're doing now. So don't you keep Faith away from the ranch. You know, you need to try to do everything you can to make sure that that relationship is preserved, even though you're having troubles with Victor. I mean, somebody always ends up getting caught in the crosshairs when we go into these wars, and I don't want it to be Faith. It's weird and unsettling, by the way, to hear Nick calling Victor Victor. Have you noticed that now it's not dad? I mean, it's been all of these years of dad is dad, and now all of a sudden dad is Victor. It throws me off a little bit. It says a lot about how Nick really does see him now. I can only imagine that Nick is going to come down with an iron fist regarding Faith and Victor eventually. Maybe tell Faith that she can't see Victor, because I'm imagining that Victor's going to have to fire back eventually. We're going to need a reason to bring this feud to the next level, and Victor's really only got one more card to play, and that's the little paternity secret that he and Chelsea have been hiding from Nick. Finally, Mariah convinces Tessa to do the right thing and tell Paul that Crystal is her sister. Any of this information would be helpful to the police in actually trying to rescue this girl who needs the help. So of course, as soon as Paul hears that, and Sharon there too, they all vow to help Tessa. Of course they would. I don't know why she was so hell-bent on keeping this a secret, but now that the secret is out, she does have to tell Noah the truth, that Crystal is her sister. I don't know why. Like, she explained it that, you know, Mariah already knew about this, okay? And then I went to Paul, and then and Sharon found out too. But the reason I didn't tell you was because I was really afraid of losing you. I told Mariah because I feel like, you know, I'm comfortable with her. She's a friend. I know she's not going to judge me. But, you know, we're in a romantic relationship, so that has different stakes. Well, all of that should not weigh up against your sister's safety. I feel confused by Tessa and her motive, and her, just the way she's reacted to the situation seems a little suspicious to me, doesn't it? I mean, I do think that she genuinely loves Noah. You know, clearly things are on the rocks for Mariah and Devon, but the same really cannot be said about Tessa and Noah. I think that Noah was nothing but sweet and supportive and understanding, as we all knew that he would be. Tessa, if what she is saying is true, has done nothing wrong and is just trying to help her sister. I don't know. I feel once again that maybe we're seeing a little bit of twist in the direction of this story. Like, maybe we got little pieces of something and now it's being yanked back and turned into something else. I'm absolutely starting to think that a relationship between Mariah and Tessa is destined to never bloom. I think that fan reaction to that has been way too strong in the negative. People do not want to see it. I don't even know why would the writers test that on such a big scale and then pull back nearly immediately, and furthermore, it just makes me sad for Mariah. Where does this leave Mariah when the dust settles? Is she just gonna be alone again? And I feel a little bit the same way about Sharon, honestly, because she and Scott are like this dragnet team right now. They're working together to bust up this sex ring. They're doing these missions and they're just like getting involved in it's like a secret agent mission right now. And in the end, I'm also kind of afraid that Scott is going to leave Sharon when all of the dust settles. Like, I feel that Scott is going to end up gravitating toward Abby to help her pick up the pieces. I don't know. I think all of these people are crazy for going rogue and not letting the police take care of this dangerous situation. I mean, shoot, Sharon is like getting way too involved. I mean, she should be taking all of her suspicions to Paul, not doing surveillance and like these undercover missions on her own. She's not trained. It could be so dangerous for her. These people are dangerous, Sharon. Be careful. So the big twist of the week. Nick recognizes a familiar face at the underground one night, and it was funny because he looks over and it's clear that he recognizes her, and as soon as I saw her face, I'm like, where do I know her from? At first I thought maybe she was the woman who played Phyllis for a while. We've had like 3 actresses play Phyllis, and it was the other one, not Michelle Stafford, not Gina Tognoni, the other one. And I thought, is that her? She kind of had the same face. And then like almost as Nick was saying it, like the words came out of my mouth like, Alice, like I just like, it was weird the way, like I was trying to pull up this memory from 20 years ago, and all of a sudden just a little gasp at my screen and go, Alice. I mean, because it's so obscure, right? I mean, she was involved. I mean, she wasn't a very big part of Y&R. I mean, like, basically, Alice is the woman who adopted Cassie after Sharon gave Cassie up for adoption. And Alice, I don't even know why she would adopt this child, because she ended up leaving Cassie with her elderly mother, Millie, for most of the time. So she, I guess, realized she wasn't really fit to be a parent. So she, you know, leaves Cassie kind of to be raised by an elderly woman while she was off, like, doing God knows what now. I mean, now it all comes into question. But as soon as Nick realizes that that's Alice, he calls Sharon. She comes down immediately to the underground for a reunion. And it was weird. Like, Sharon was so nice and so gracious at seeing Sharon, and I wouldn't even get up out of my chair for her. I mean, like, she ended up trying to sue them for custody of Cassie. Like, she knows she wasn't really a fit parent. She was kind of pushing Cassie off on this really nice older lady. I remember Millie, and she was really sweet. But then she turns around as soon as people with money are involved, and then she's trying to sue them for custody of a girl she really can't take care of. I mean, that's suspicious. She eventually did the right thing, of course, and she backed off and let Sharon and Nick adopt Cassie. But I hardly remember them feeling warm and fuzzy about her. She always had this sort of shady vibe, and it's clear that Alice remembers that. She's sitting there talking to Sharon, who's being super nice, and it's clear that Alice is really uncomfortable sitting there in her expensive clothes, which Sharon immediately notices is Fenmore's brand and is not cheap. Like, oh, Alice is sitting here, she never really had any money, and all of a sudden she's there in a very high-end dress. So, I mean, and the moment where Sharon kind of presses her, oh, really, you know, I noticed you're wearing some nice clothes there. Where are you working now? And she says, oh, I'm just working for a small company in sales. I mean, come on, like, that was just like almost like a comedic moment there. Clearly, she's the mastermind, we're supposed to, I suppose, be led to this breadcrumb at this moment that she's the mastermind behind the whole sex ring operation. She's just a small company, though, but working in sales of young women. I mean, how horrible is this? I cannot help but think, what would have happened? I mean, if this is true, okay, if she is involved in this, what would have happened to Cassie if Cassie would have continued to stay in her care? Has anybody thought of that? Because that is horrific. She would have prostituted out Cassie? Oh my gosh. Terrible, terrible. Ugh. I wonder what Alice is gonna say, though, when she sees Mariah, because there's got to be a moment where she comes into contact with Mariah, Cassie's twin, and it'll probably like blow her mind. I'm imagining she's gonna like flip her lid. So anyway, Alice is probably in such a rush to leave the bar and get away from these people who might know her, that she forgets her credit card with Nick, and so Nick hands it to Sharon. Sharon tries to run outside to give her her credit card back, and she notices that Alice is driving away in the same car that she photographed last week at the police station, who was there picking up prostitutes. What a coincidence. What a great coincidence. I mean, Sharon is like a super sleuth right now. Her and Scott. I mean, Scott, she fills Scott in on this whole thing, who believes her immediately. I do appreciate that about Scott, that it's like when she told Nick about it, Nick was kind of like, I don't think Alice is involved in the sex ring thing. That doesn't really make sense. But as soon as she told Scott, he was completely there to help her and to help her follow her suspicions. Like, he said, I would, you know, she goes, Sharon said, don't think I'm crazy, but, and Scott said, I would never think you're crazy. He just, like, accepted her and respected that this is what she's thinking, and he helped her follow the lead. He ended up doing a little research by using Alice's credit card. He found her home address, or whatever was linked to the driver's license. I mean, of course you would want to have your prostitute house address listed on your driver's license, but Sharon and Scott go to the address and they do this little stakeout on the outside of the house, like just waiting to see who's coming and going. Then I suspect, by the way, that Zach is living at that house or something, that somehow Alice and Zach are living together at that house and running the operation out of there. But Sharon and Scott are looking at the house, trying to see what's going on, and they did have this funny little interaction with a nosy neighbor. It was just so kind of Midwestern in a way, and I liked that. Like, you know, like in certain neighborhoods, some neighborhoods, you're not just gonna sit there in a car and, you know, suspiciously look at somebody's house. A neighbor probably is gonna come up and get up in your business and try to sort of passive aggressively, friendly ask what the hell you're up to. So it was kind of a funny, awkward little run-in. Now, while that's happening, by the way, Victor has taken it upon himself to invite Zach to dinner. Victor is trying his very best to try to fully fold Abby into his Newman lifestyle. He's got her living in the house. I mean, this is like, he is a control freak, right? Only a control freak would need to do that. He does it all under the gift, you know, or the guise of a gift. I want to give you this house to live on, this beautiful estate, but it's really about control. And then he calls her boyfriend without her permission and invites him to dinner. And Zach is trying so hard to impress Victor. It's funny that I think everybody who dates one of the daughters feels like they have to impress Victor. But I don't even know why it works. It seemed like, I'm thinking back to the meeting that Zach had with Ashley, and then here we have Zach with Victor, and both times Zach just comes off as so smug, like he's too smooth. That would be such a red flag for me as a parent. I'd be like, this guy just seems like he's up to something, and we all know everybody who's not a major character is up to something in life. So they're sitting there having drinks, and Zach ends up getting a little text on his phone, and he stands up, walks away, and we see that he's taking a text message from Alice, who says, meet me at the house. So I'm thinking if Sharon and Scott are continuing to sit out there, that they're gonna see Zach meet Alice at that house, and since they've already connected that Alice is up to no good, they're going to immediately connect that Zach is up to no good, probably realize that Abby's in trouble, and go to try to convince her to stay away from Zach. I just hope that Sharon doesn't find herself in trouble with all of this. I mean, it feels like it's a very dangerous situation that she shouldn't be getting involved in. I think Abby and Sharon and Tessa are all in immediate danger. I'm worried that Sharon is being so bold with trying to bust up this sex ring that she's gonna end up getting threatened or kidnapped by these people or whatever worse before the whole thing is over. I mean, I don't even know. Is it almost over, or this is another one of those situations where I wonder if it's just the beginning? Like, is Sharon on the verge of some kind of revelation here? Because this is my thinking about Alice. Like, I don't understand. I feel like Sharon is going to find herself even more personally connected to this story, because I don't get why Y&R would bring back Alice, of all people, to be this mastermind. It could have been anybody. It could have been someone who we don't know. It just wasn't necessary to bring back a character from the past to become this mystery woman. So what's the point of bringing back Alice, of all people, if not to circle back to Sharon and maybe reveal something about her history? I only have one weakness: dark and dreamy desserts. I don't think I would have gotten the commercial. That was last week's Who Said It quote. It was Hilary who said that line. That was her line from the commercial that she got, that she stole out from underneath Lily. So we actually had that line repeated a couple of times on the show, and so therefore a lot of people guessed that Hilary's weakness was dark and dreamy desserts. So I'm gonna read all of the winners' names. I'm gonna take a deep breath here and get you all out for your big congratulations. So well done to Lynn, Sandra, Jamie, Henry, Heather, Colleen, Erin, Melissa, Jillian, Becca, Jamie, Tony, Nancy, Ambreen, Consuela, and Rose. Good guesses, you guys. Okay, I think I must be in the mood for like double entendres or something, because here's this week's quote. Just 3 simple words. Stroke my cheek. I wish it would be like, stroke my ... cheek. These people are weird. I mean, like, sometimes if you just pull these lines out of context, it's like, what? Stroke my cheek. Who said it? If you think you know, you can go to yrchat.com and leave your guess. If you get it right, then you too will receive your shout out and congratulations on next week's Y&R Chat. Yay! Let's get back to your comments. I really did miss you guys. The last 2 weeks I wasn't really able to, like, I mean, I read comments, but I like sitting here and reading them out loud and just kind of thinking about them and responding to them. So I really missed you guys not having the chance to do that on our last 2 Y&R Chats. So I'm extra happy to get back to everything that you guys have to say. So let's dig in. Julie left me a comment at yrchat.com saying, Nikki looked gorgeous with her hair long and straight. I was so glad that somebody mentioned that, Julie, because that's what I thought the same thing. Like, Friday's show opened up, Nikki was on my screen, and her hair was like, boom, stunning. I was thinking the exact same thing. Well done to whoever styled her hair in that episode. We need more of that. Like, it had the right volume, the right oomph. It was good. Oh, let's get into some Billy and Phyllis and Victoria comments. Daisy on Facebook says, my wish is that Billy and Victoria would get back together. And I think that Phyllis being found to have colluded against Brash and Sassy with Jack might be the beginning of that happening. Once Billy finds out what Phyllis did, it's unlikely that he'll stay with her. Yeah, I wonder how many people are seeing this as the beginning of the end and the beginning of the unraveling of Billy and Phyllis's relationship. Now, on the flip side, I do know that there are a lot of Billy and Phyllis fans who are unhappy about the fact that that's almost really does kind of seem like the direction that it's getting ready to go. Ellen at yrchat.com left a comment saying, it makes no sense that Billy would risk his relationship with Phyllis just to get into the Jibbo computers. Boo! Yeah, I was very disappointed in him for that. I mean, shockingly disappointed. I just felt like that was a bridge too far for me. Superplex left me a really good long comment about Phyllis and Billy, and specifically about, I guess I've been thinking about too, like Billy doing that to break into Phyllis's computer versus Phyllis pushing Ben Hockman in Victoria's direction, and how bad that really is, because it's kind of like maybe not that bad really in the scheme of things. Superplex's comment here says, sure, Phyllis wanted to draw Victoria's attention away from Billy, but did Phyllis hold a gun to Victoria's head and make her go on a date with him, with Ben Hockman? Did she sprinkle pixie dust atop Victoria's head and use mind control to manipulate her to sleep with him? All of that was Victoria's decision. At Superplex, that was my reaction too. Like, I just feel that what Billy did was way worse than what Phyllis did. I think Phyllis is still trying to keep their relationship mostly positive and respectful. She was coming down on him this week pretty hard about the fact that he keeps running away to go help Victoria save her business, but I can completely see where she's coming from. She's allowed to be mad at him. She's allowed to call him out for that, and I think she was right to. I would be angry about that as well. I mean, it's not going to win her relationship. It probably ultimately doesn't work in her best interest, but she has a right to do that. And again, I have to say, I just feel like sad that Billy has chosen to betray Phyllis in that way. And I think that, I mean, who knows, maybe she'll be the one that ends up ending the relationship, because for me, that's just, it is such a betrayal, and I am disappointed. I guess at the end of the day, even though I do like and appreciate Jack and Phyllis's dynamic, it does seem a little boring to just like revert back to Jack and Phyllis and Billy and Victoria. I'm not really pulling for a Victoria and Billy reunion personally, but that's just me. I think I'd like to see Billy and Victoria stay together, work it out. It's just more juicy that way, I guess, but probably ultimately. I mean, although I'm not opposed to Victoria and Billy flirting or something. I mean, I want there to be conflict, but I don't want an easy path right back to Billy and Victoria. I think that there's just so much chemistry between Phyllis and Billy that really hasn't had a whole lot of chance to be explored. You know, I think I could have done with a little bit more time on just Billy and Phyllis enjoying each other. Even Marianne left me a comment at yrchat.com saying, I'm a Billy and Victoria fan through and through, and I look forward to watching the fight with Phyllis unravel already, but I don't want to see them reunite in the end, even though I don't see why Billy would go to such extent to help Victoria other than a secret, undying love for her. Do you guys think that if Billy had the chance, would he just go back to Victoria right now? Like, if Billy had to choose Victoria or Phyllis right now, and both women wanted him, who would he choose? That's another good question for the week. What do you guys think? Oh, let's see. Let's talk about Cane. Sandra left me a comment here at yrchat.com saying, Hilary and Cane are about to make a regretful leap into the abyss of rebound sex. I bet they wind up in bed. All that anger and disappointment about their failed relationships might just push them over the edge of reason. That did occur to me, Sandra, just as a little, yeah, I wonder if Weiner's building that up. I mean, if Lily can be gallivanting around with Jordan, it would really piss Lily off if she found out that Cane was gallivanting around with Hilary. I'd almost rather see that and just remove Juliet from the picture, because I think Lily's jealousy point is probably going to be more about Cane raising this child with Juliet. I kind of think we just need to get rid of Juliet. I'm sorry, it maybe just didn't work out the way I thought it was going to. I can't place her. I don't know if she's a good girl or a bad girl, but part of me just wishes she was pulling a scam and then we could just get rid of her and write her off. But yeah, Hilary and Cane. Cheyenne left me also a comment at yrchat.com saying, my favorite scenes of the week was surprisingly Hilary and Cane. I usually don't care for Cane's character, however, these scenes were fun. I would never want to see them as a couple, but I was shocked to see they actually had chemistry. I loved that both former con artists were scheming together. Yeah, it could get interesting, that's for sure. Oh, the only bad thing is I think Hilary's probably would be a very bad influence on Cane, but you know, it could be good to see bad Cane come back. I don't think, by the way, this is just totally a side note here, but speaking, I just remember someone had suggested that maybe Cane could become the new Adam of the show, the kind of bad boy that we love. But I did see an update on soap opera, CBS Soaps in Depth, that Michael Mooney got a role, like some kind of new primetime role or something like that. So I'm assuming that's, you know, for anybody that was thinking Michael Mooney was going to come back, I really didn't think that he was going to come back after reading Eric Braden's book. I have a feeling that that bridge is burned, but it doesn't sound like there's going to be any kind of Michael Mooney comeback for the Adam character. That doesn't necessarily mean that they won't recast Adam eventually, but it's just, I always see comments about people predicting that Adam's going to come back. I just don't know that that's in the works yet. Maybe down the line, they just got to find the right guy. If Y&R could find the right guy, we could get an Adam back, but, you know, maybe in the meantime, it could be fun to see a little bit of bad Cane. Diana at yrchat.com says, I thought it was kind of funny how Y&R gave us a close-up shot of Jordan's half-eaten burger and fries on his plate when he was on his date with Lily at the Underground. He was using the food to demonstrate how he felt out of place at his high school dances. Y&R seems to want to give us a sense of reality by showing that the characters actually order food and eat it when they are out or at home. Lately, we're seeing this more and more. I agree. I thought that was an adorable little scene. It's the little things. Y&R has done a lot of little things that really, I think, draw us into this people's world. I mean, just showing them eat is so minor, yet it is so effective, and it's just one of those things that we note, and I think it is a good idea to acknowledge those little things so that Y&R keeps doing them. Oh, okay, back on Chelsea here. Marion also left a comment at yrchat.com on last week's poll question about Nick and Chelsea. I know a lot of people, again, kind of feel like Chelsea will ultimately be reunited with Adam down the road, and that is part of the reason that Chelsea and Nick won't ultimately work out. But I liked Marion's comment here because she was the one comment that actually seemed pro Nick and Chelsea and thinking that they're going to stay together. Marion says, funny enough, I see Chelsea and Nick sticking together through thick and thin for a while yet. They're showing signs that they do want to make things work. I don't see Faith as an obstacle. She's got a mother, for goodness sake, so they could take her over there on a permanent basis when she becomes too hard to handle. And Adam is a lesser threat for me than Victor with regards to Christian's paternity secret. But since he's not on his punching bag agenda at the moment, I see them quite safe on that side too. Yeah, I mean, I feel like Victor probably is the biggest threat, and he's the clear and present danger. Okay, so last week I did a terrible job of knowing anything about Brent Davis. I just wasn't watching at that time, and it's just been brought up so little, and I just don't know a whole lot about him. So I thought that I would do a little bit of research and read you guys a little blurb about Brent Davis to kind of get everybody up to speed. So this is from soap.sheknows.com, and here's a little bit of backstory. It took Ashley years before she found out that John Abbott wasn't her biological farmer. Sorry, that was funny to me. Former tennis pro Brent Davis, played by Burt Kramer, returned to Genoa City and had an affair with Catherine Chancellor. When word came out that he was dying, Brent wanted to reach out to Ashley and tell her that he was in fact her biological farmer, having an affair with her mother, Dina. Though Dina and Catherine tried to talk Brent out of revealing the truth, he told Ashley, who ended up in shock and missing with no memory of her life. A search began for Ashley, which led to a man locating her and trying to get rich by offering a ransom for her whereabouts. Victor managed to locate Ashley and brought her back to his ranch in order for her to get the help she needed. Once Ashley was back to her old self, she forgave Brent before she died, but never wanted John to find out the truth. Victor, Catherine, Dina, Jack, and Jill all worked to keep the secret, and John died believing that Ashley was his daughter. That's a good recap, right? That helped me kind of put things in their place. Mary Ann left a comment at yrchat.com saying, I've watched the show on and off for most of the run, but I do remember the mid-'80s when Brent Davis was on the show and the character died during that time. Since I do remember the storyline, I've not found it as compelling, but more of a rehash. My question for you, Mary Ann, or anybody else who remembers that storyline, is we had a scene this past week, just at the tail end of Friday's show, where Abby is asking Ashley why she is so sensitive when it comes to this affair, you know, that Dina had with this Brent Davis. Clear that Ashley does not want to reveal that he was actually her father, but there was a moment where she said to Abby, I just don't want to talk about it because he wasn't a very, like, he was not a nice person. Or, you know, when commenting upon Brent, Ashley said something about him being kind of a not nice man. Is that true? That's one piece of the personality puzzle that I don't have put together. I mean, when Brent was coming back into town and he's revealing himself as Ashley's father, is he also kind of a jerk about it? Or is that just something Ashley said? I'd love for anybody who knows the scoop about Brent to comment on that and give us some more like personality background. That'd be good. Aaron on YouTube says, Y&R is about to have a new scandal, though, when Ashley's secret of not being a real Abbott is exposed. So once Abby finds out that her mom isn't a real Abbott, which means neither is she, at least biologically anyway, I have the feeling that she's or I think that the feeling that she's always had of having to take opposite sides of the family will be no more, and will send her rushing into the arms of the Newmans. Yeah, I mean, Abby finding out that she's not actually an Abbott may make her embrace the Newman side of herself, the Victor side of herself. I think that Abby's probably gonna need some family after everything with Zach goes down. Anna left me a voicemail and she had a really good prediction. She says, is it possible that Alice is Zach's mother? Even if it's by adoption like Cassie? I thought that was an interesting idea, because how else would they be connected? How would they know each other? And if Zach were somehow maybe being victimized by Alice, or maybe she was the mother that put him on this path, that could possibly cause Zach to be redeemed. Although I don't necessarily want him to be redeemed, because I just think he's a jerk. He just seemed like a jerk. I just want him gone. I don't like the way he carries himself. Oh, Connor left me a voice message this past week, which really made me happy, because I was literally thinking, I missed Connor. I haven't heard his voice in a while. So it was like such a pleasure to hear your voice again, Connor. And Connor says, when Tessa first came into Genoa City, do you remember those phone calls that she was making to someone talking about how rich these people all are? I believe that Tessa was talking to Alice. I believe that Tessa and Alice are connected somehow. Yeah, that would put, see, like, part of me wonders, like, was Tessa ever involved in this sex ring? Was she ever a victim of it? Or was she ever a perpetrator of it? I don't know what, we saw a little, and I didn't go back and watch this preview, but the preview on Friday's show had somebody showing up on somebody's phone, and there was like a girl, I think it was on Zach's app, and the person's name was Rainbow Girl. I assumed that that was Crystal, but now in retrospect, is there any chance it was Tessa or something? I don't know. Tessa's feeling more and more questionable to me right now. Daisy also left a comment. Part of her comment on Facebook was, well, as for who Alice is, one thought is that she could be working with law enforcement to stop the ring and arrest those involved. It might be something that Paul already knows about, but obviously could not tell Sharon about because it's undercover. I like that theory too, because it's like so obvious to assume that Alice is the madam, but what if she is a good guy and she's actually helping to bust this up? I kind of like that idea. Another interesting theory though from Daisy is that maybe Crystal is Alice's daughter and she has used her street smarts to infiltrate the ring to get her back. And Tessa could be Alice's stepdaughter and Crystal's half-sister. I guess we'll find that out when and if Tessa and Alice meet. See, it's going to be so interesting, you guys, if Tessa and Alice come into each other's connection. That should reveal quite a lot. But I think that's interesting, too, that Alice could be Crystal's mother or something. There's just so much potential here. Finally, Gary left me a voicemail. Of course, my ears popped up when I heard this. Gary says, I had a realization that the whole sex trafficking plot is just a large backdrop to bring Nick and Sharon back together. That is why Cassie's adoptive mother is the madam. I think it'll be a long time coming, Gary says, but I think that's going to bond and bring those two closer together. And it would involve Mariah as well. That is interesting to me because I've been racking my brain trying to think about why Alice? Why would it be Alice? And maybe if Scott goes off to comfort Abby, maybe that's exactly what we're seeing. Something to bond Nick and Sharon back together. Now, of course, you know, I'm very happy if there's a Nick and Sharon reunion, but at the end of the day, by the way, I'll also be happy if I never have to say the phrase sex ring again. Okay, everybody, that does it for me for this week. I loved having a nice, relaxed, long, full video and audio Y&R chat. I feel good. I hope that you guys enjoyed it and that you go to the website and leave me more of your comments. YRChat.com is the blog where you can just log in, leave comments on this chat, on last week's show, or on next week's show as you're watching it. You can also call into my voicemail at 309-588-4569. And of course, there's like Facebook and YouTube and all that stuff too. I love hearing from you. I love getting my thoughts about the show out there to you. So let's keep it up. I love you guys and I'll see you next Sunday. Oh, everybody have a great Labor Day. I don't know if there's a show on Monday or not. I heard no. I heard there's no show, but I find that hard to believe considering we were behind an episode last week. I don't know why they wouldn't show one. I mean, people can record it while they're at their barbecues. We should at least get like a pool party barbecue show or something. I don't know. Either way, I'll be back next Sunday and we'll chat about 4 or 5 shows or however many we have. See you then, guys. Bye.